I haven't told you whether I'm going to film or not, but you.
Well, you got a camera. They don't want to be filmed.
Okay, just a second.
Someone, come here. Someone just.
Hang on. Would you hang on my bag, please? Don't go away.
This guy is trying to film. I said he's not going to film.
You're full of shit.
You might want to talk to Adam at the registration desk.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what
These
I'm
people
gonna talk to
specifically requested that there's
you.
no
Sir,
filming.
I don't want to talk to you. You're
Okay,
blocking
I
my
don't-
way. I don't want to talk to you.
Okay. Well, you're not getting in here and filming them, okay?
Yeah, unfortunately, the subject is sensitive, and these are people that are doing
I'm pretty
things that are-
sensitive too.
Yeah, these are these are folks that are in a world that is
Guys just like this here mobbed me, robbed me,
I
threw
didn't
my
do
equipment
anything.
off. Guys
Like
like
me?
you. Like you.
How
Like
am I
you.
like them?
You are blocking my path, sir.
You are trying to
This is one of the
go
organizers
against someone's.
of the conference.
I'm sorry?
This is one of the organizers of the conference,
Mhm.
and
That may be.
he's trying to help and bring everybody
No,
together here.
he's putting words in my mouth. He's blocking my path.
They've asked not to be filmed. You obviously have a camera. You have a reputation of filming people that don't want to be filmed.
You know what? I don't need to explain my reputation to you.
I don't need to explain why you're not
and,
getting
and
this
having a
workshop.
camera is not illegal. Photography is not a crime. You're blocking my path is.
Absolutely not, and we're not saying that those are, but these are folks that have to protect their anonymity. And so, if you're going to be taking photos and then
I
putting
don't
them
think
out in the world,
I don't think I said anything about taking photos, and
Okay.
I'm not required
Well-
to actually engage a conversation with you guys.
Hi, how are you?
Hmm.
Good. I am moderating the panel. But yeah, we would love for you to come in and
That's
be part
nice.
of the discussion, but we are asking folks that if they come in, that they not take photos.
I heard you.
Yep.
Are you going to not do that?
I don't need to answer your question.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, well, there we go. Yeah.
Who are you calling?
It's none of your business.
Okay. If you want to talk to one of the people with the Turnbull Center, she's right here. If you have any questions.
I will be talking to somebody. No. Okay. Are you with Turnbull Center?
No, I am.
Are you with the university? This man's blocking my path, and I've asked him to move, and he hasn't done it. Yeah, I'd like to talk to
Requested that
the
nobody
security,
films this
please.
session because they are concerned about security.
I'm
This guy
having
is
a man that's
notorious for going to conferences,
blocking my
don't want to be
path.
filmed,
I'm trying to get into a meeting,
basically kind of
and
wrecking
he's
the conference.
insisting on intimidating and bullying me, and I'd like somebody to come up here to room 302 on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Because this is going, it's going on right now.
So you're not taking their photograph.
Get away from me.
Don't take my photograph.
Back off.
Fuck you, dude.
John. Are you here for the presentation? Yeah. Come on in.
Stay away from me.
You stay away from me. You stay away from these people who don't make a photograph.
Hello? You take one more step toward me,
What are you gonna do?
and I'm
Kick
going to
me?
defend myself.
Okay.
Stay away
You
from
want to do
me.
that, you get sued?
I don't mind being sued. I'd welcome having you in
I'm sure
court.
you would.
Yeah.
That's your thing. That's what you do.
I got it.
Don't prod me. Stay away from me.
What's up, man?
So there isn't a code of conduct here, but we can remove you.
Can I
Because
talk to
you're
you, please?
violating his personal space.
You are violating my personal space.
Yes, but you're
Everyone's personal
violating
space.
everyone else's.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not doing anything illegal. You are.
How am I?
What's the law?
I asked you to just back up. Okay, thank you.
So who are you calling?
That's none of your
Put it
business.
down.
No.
Put it
Hey.
down.
Yo, what's up?
Put it down.
If you keep coming forward, I'm going to have to defend myself. I'm backing up. Stay away from me.
Take a photo.
I will take your photo if I want to.
You can take mine, I don't give a
Well,
fuck.
that's fine. I will take anyone's photo out here in this hall that I choose to.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Where's an organizer?
I'm right here, I'm the conference organizer, Andrea is with the Temple Center.
Is there a code of conduct?
Yeah, but I mean,
Can we remove him?
I would not touch me.
Comes the leadership, and I would remove him.
I mean, Andrea is talking to someone right now, who's with the Temple Center.
Will you go to the registration with this organizer so that we can talk about it further?
I was going to talk about it in the meeting, but I'm not
The
prepared
meeting
to
isn't
talk.
happening right now because
No.
of this event.
Well, that's
So,
good.
how about we proceed to registration?
Meeting from happening is good. That's
You're
your goal,
eating
right?
into the time that everyone has prepared here, and they'd like to present, and they'd like to have a discussion, but
You guys are not entitled to interfere with
You're
me
not
taking a
entitled
picture
to-
in a public event in a public space.
That's not right.
No,
Because
well,
people had
it
to
is.
register to be here, it's not public.
Mhm.
Do you understand that?
It was
As an
advertised, it was
organizer.
advertised as a public event.
As an organizer,
registration doesn't mean
and
you can take
did you
pictures,
register,
photograph
yeah?
if you want.
Sorry,
Did you
what?
read any of the literature around it
He
saying
doesn't care, he
that-
does this all the time, that's what he does, he goes to conferences and tries to intimidate people with cameras.
I
So,
think
most
you guys are the
security
ones that are
downstairs and
intimidating.
escorted out.
Yeah, just get him out of here.
Seriously. You have a contract with the venue can remove anyone you want. That's kind of the best thing about being a contract.
You take one more step toward me. I'm going to take your picture.
You can take mine.
Yeah.
Thank you. You
Just
can
stay
take
away
mine
from me.
all you want. You want to know why? I don't give a fuck about you
I don't-
or your rights that you think you have.
Yeah, I'm in security up here. This is a confrontation on the third floor.
We're confronting your.
3, at room 302, and I called some time ago.
Hi, we'd like him removed.
Well, they're certainly taking a long time.
We just
Hi,
had,
thank you.
where's
He's
the
your name.
organizer guy?
Okay.
The organizer
trying
of
to enter this
conference
room.
would like him removed.
And I'm being harassed, threatened.
He
I've
keeps
asked them to
taking our
back
photos
away.
After every single person here has asked him not to.
And I
Except
have
me,
taken
who has
pictures of
decided to give
people
a fuck.
standing out here in this hallway. They asked me some questions. And frankly, I would like to talk to you where I don't have these people hanging over, and you're of course welcome to talk to them. But I paid a fee to come to this event. And one of the reasons that I've come to this event is to record exactly this kind of stuff. I'm with the press,
The situation happened.
and
Is his
the
name on any of your
photography,
stuff?
photography is not, I signed the thing, I gave him $10. Pat?
There was an
Did we pay him
explicit
$10?
no photo policy on this
Yeah.
event because of the
And it's advertised as a
People are very
public,
concerned about
just
their
this,
anonymity.
I'll wait until you
We
can
have
talk
that
to me.
announced.
'Cause I don't think you can listen to 2 people at once.
I can. Is his name on any of your things for him signed up for this event?
Yes, it is.
No, nobody signs up exactly for each session.
My name is on, it's,
Names are recorded.
it's on, you wanna go down and look at the registration? Yeah, I said, Pat, did we sign? Yeah. And they wanted the name, gave them the name, it's registered. And I've asked them repeatedly to stop blocking my path, and they won't do that. And they asked me if I was gonna take pictures in there, and I said, I'm not prepared to talk to you about it at this time.
You never
So,
said
basic, you weren't even here when I said it, how would you know?
Because you didn't say it around any of us.
And then aside from taking pictures of people specifically in this hallway, what else is the issue?
He's actually trying to take
Well,
them
so
through the door.
we have.
Well, I
this
took it-
panel.
took through
Asked
the
that
window.
Nobody take
Mhm.
photos in the panel, because
Okay.
people are concerned about their anonymity.
Right.
And he is refusing to oblige, but to that,
And he keeps taking people's photos after they've already said no.
Okay.
That's
So
true.
we would actually let
I'm
him
taking their
remove.
photos without their permission.
Yeah. Well, I can't have
So
you do
that's
that, sir.
following their rights.
Why
You
not?
understand
It's not a
that.
crime. Photography is not a crime.
but
I'm
it
in a
is a
public
private event,
space.
and you
Well, this
are,
isn't a public space for one. This
Well,
is a
it
private
is.
space.
No, it's open to the public. It was advertised as a public event, and I'm also registered.
This is a private space, and I will continue to say that because that's what it is. These people don't want their faces photographed. That's completely understandable.
Mm-hmm.
I understand your side too, sir, but this is private, so I can't allow you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a part of this event and you paid money to do it, then by all means, please be a
Well,
part of the event.
I attempted to go walk through the door, and they have
we would
blocked me
love for
from
you
doing
to
it.
be part of the discussion,
Mhm.
But you
but you
cannot
cannot take photos inside this space.
You know, as long as we're having this discussion, it's interesting. You're going to be discussing the graffiti in here and probably justifying vandalizing or defacing private property under the guise of First Amendment principles.
So
And
she's
yet,
gonna
when I'm talking about First Amendment principles, you guys just can't get your arms or mind around that, can
No,
you?
it's in a public
First of
park
all, this is
somewhere,
not-
that
it's
would
a
be a
private
totally
space.
different
Uh-huh.
situation.
You live in private property?
There isn't
What?
actually correlation between that argument.
If I'm in Walmart, I can take a picture in there. It's not illegal. They can ask me to leave.
Like you're being asked to now.
Okay, but I paid to be here.
Well, you made a mistake. We didn't want you here, we tried to keep you from being here.
Should we refund his money and ask him?
Yeah, give you $10
We can
back if you
absolutely,
leave.
I haven't asked for the $10. I don't have to
no,
accept it.
that's
Mhm.
to get you to go.
People are
What
trying to
we're
do
willing to do.
over here.
Mhm.
Well, why don't we just go?
Well, because I'm not required to.
Yeah,
I
well,
guess
then
you
you
are.
Well, you're
actually,
gonna be
at this point.
forcefully
You are
removed
saying you are
otherwise.
required.
Yeah.
Do you have a supervisor?
I do, but that's a different element than what's this building. I would waste other people's
Mhm.
time in doing this. They offered to give you money back,
I said, and I refused it.
and that's okay.
Okay, so
So,
now you don't get your money back.
exactly, so I have to ask you to leave, sir.
One way or another.
Okay, well, just a second, officer, I'm gonna take your
We're
picture.
gonna
I'm
take
here to
our
make a,
picture, yeah.
well, I've taken your picture. Yeah.
No, you can't actually.
Can't take your picture.
You cannot. We're done explaining the reasons why you can't do that, sir. So I can walk with you to in the
Mhm.
elevator and go back downstairs, and
Now hang on.
I can see you out.
Well, you can see me out, okay?
Yep.
But
We're
photography is not a crime, even,
I agree wholeheartedly, but that's not the issue at play
well,
right
okay,
now, sir.
but what was your name?
Officer Michael Weingart.
Okay, would you smile, officer?
We just said
Okay,
none of that.
he just said no.
Yep.
Thank you.
Do not touch me.
Sorry.
Don't touch me.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Is it John?
I don't need to
I'm Mike
talk to
Baker,
you.
can I introduce myself to you?
Yeah, well, are you with the university?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
Mike Fincher.
Okay, you wanna talk for a little bit? I'll bring Pat with me.
Yeah, why don't we?
Why don't you come too?
Yeah, we'll just go down, we'll talk. You know, I'd like to understand better, you know, your point of
Mhm.
view.
Oh, yeah.
So I heard, are you from Olympia, some?
I am, yeah, we drove up here for this event.
From, Seattle myself, so.
Mhm. And, by the way, I've already attended a couple of workshops, okay? But this workshop seemed to be, of a different character.
What's the topic?
Oh, graffiti. Yeah. But, no, if you've got the time, and can I get your position or title?
Yeah, I'll put you in here, I don't have a card with me, but I'll
Okay.
who I am.
Sir, while you're going over this.
Don't touch me.
Well, you can't take
Yeah,
a
I
picture.
can, yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I
Sir,
can, it's not a
please.
crime.
Please, sir.
mean, if you have an office, that's fine too.
Oh, that's all right.
And what was your title again?
I'm the interim director of the Turnbull Center,
Okay,
which is
okay.
where we're right there.
So you would like to sit in
Well,
here?
yeah, I mean, I think this is, I mean, is that all right?
Well, wherever you want, it's fine with me, wherever you want. As long as there's a place for you to sit.
Yeah, I figured, you know, they just bring the chair around. We'll have
Sure.
two chairs. You want to try it? No, I'll give you my background and do a little introduction.
Yeah,
You can tell me about yourself, too.
Sure.
So I'm an University of Oregon grad from 1968 and spent my career in newspaper journalism.
Fantastic.
Most
Then we're not going to have to define a lot of terms and jargon because you're familiar with it already. Go ahead.
So most of it,
Yeah.
retired.
So you worked for the Seattle Times?
Yeah.
Okay, great. As a
Yeah,
report, as a reporter?
I was the executive editor.
Okay. All right.
Retired
Yeah.
about 6 years ago.
And also, I understand that they teach law here.
Yeah, there's a law, there's a portion of the law.
Because I'm a paralegal as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Have been for like since 1992.
so I was asked just to fill in as interim director of this center.
Yeah.
And because asked me to hold the event here, and we said, sure, we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this is about. I mean, that's what this day is about. And I guess you know some of these folks.
Not personally,
Yeah, just from.
but I have been mobbed, and and assaulted. And, have you ever heard of Tony Overman of the Daily Olympian?
I don't seem familiar.
They tracked him. When I say they, if I knew specifically, who had done some of this, they'd be under arrest. Okay. But yeah, Tony Overman took pictures of people on a street, and including a young person throwing a rock through a bank window.
He was a photographer for the Olympic.
And they'd go around writing graffiti workshop up there, on walls, even on the Daily Olympian's property and on their walls and windows. Tony Overman's a snitch. Okay.
To them.
No, the graffiti said that.
Oh, I heard. I got you.
Graffiti. Okay. And graffiti for many years has been a controversial topic, but there's usually ordinances in most cities against it, making it a crime, because basically people are defacing private property.
And I suppose they would be arguing that it's some kind of their First Amendment free expression or something.
Well, let's get into it. Your first name again was?
Mike.
Is it okay if I call you Mike?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, you can call me John.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Pat was invited to come with me for security reasons, because I don't feel safe here. And I made a big mistake a couple of years ago attending anarchist convergence on the Evergreen State College, where I was mobbed, robbed.
Trust me, Seattle WTO, I know the anarchists, so yeah, I can understand what you're saying.
And I'm the only reporter that really has gone into depth on this. Mostly the mainstream doesn't spend the kind of time. I've been following this for like 3 years.
And when you say this, you mean specifically the anarchist movement?
Well, the anarchists in the relationship to other radical groups and the Occupy movement, and I've seen schisms and so forth, but I'm also seeing a tendency toward violence and lawlessness that this is a public university, isn't it?
The university is public.
Tax supported.
Yeah. The space, this building is not a public building. It's a private building that the university leases space in. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer. I'm not going to,
Well,
You know, I'll tell you this, I'll do my own research, I'll do research so I understand better going forward.
the story here, and I wanted to cover this, and I'm glad that I did, is that, yeah, they took the $10. I did nothing illegal. That officer, I don't know if it's security guard, I think he's probably security guard, yeah, because he doesn't have very much training. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if he'd been a cop, he would have behaved very differently.
And as I say, I honestly don't know the legalities of this situation.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
But I do.
And
I'm an expert in this area of law.
My main concern is, I just didn't want to see anybody get hurt. I didn't want to see anything happen that everybody would regret. So that's why I was just trying to say.
They were really pushing it.
They
I
were.
kept taking steps backwards.
Yeah.
They kept advancing. And at some point, I was prepared to defend myself because I've been assaulted by this tribe.
Why don't you tell them the story of your assault?
Oh yeah, I showed up at the Evergreen campus with my camera, and they blocked the door. They said, "Oh, you're not welcome here." I said, "Well, I'm not sure that you're welcome here." And they have not rented this entire building, or even necessarily the halls. Okay, you know, they apparently leased some of the rooms from the school. Okay, but I'll tell you the story about Evergreen. You know, Tony Overman was. You know, I'm going to start with that. This happened a couple of years before the incident involving me at Evergreen. Tony Overman was stalked by these people, eventually even to his home, where they vandalized his car and his home. And Tony Overman later admitted that he was more frightened of the harassment that he'd been getting for like a year from this tribe, whatever you want to call it, than he was when he was a reporter covering Bosnia during the war over there. And he admitted that he sat up that night, all night, with a loaded shotgun in his lap. And they cornered Tony on the 4th Avenue Bridge one point, threatened to throw him off the bridge. And I'm an old man, and I count myself lucky that I wasn't thrown off the 3rd floor. My equipment was. They robbed me of my camera, yeah. And yeah, I take pictures because the only way the public can protect itself is with information as to what's going on in its public spaces. Now you may say, well, this isn't a public space. That's a stretch.
Again, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I'm not asserting that as a legal fact, so.
And I can take photos of, and it's perfectly legal, of anything that I can see from a public space. I can document that. And the case law on this is well tread. Because you know that much working at the paper. So
What I don't know the ins and outs of would be this space specifically. If you were out on the sidewalk.
even if I was in Walmart or in a shopping mall, I can take a picture. They might be able to ask me to leave because that is private property. They might be able to ask me to leave with some restrictions. People can demonstrate with picket signs even out in a parking lot, a private parking lot of a shopping mall. The Hare Krishnas were in airports begging, and there was a famous case there where they said that's, you know, protected under First Amendment guarantees. So it's what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm not in someone's private home. Okay. There, if I took a picture against their objections, that might be an invasion of privacy. What I was doing was not an invasion of privacy. They had no expectation of privacy there. Okay, that's the point. And by people like your badly trained security guard and your concern, frankly, about safety, okay? But, you know, the way Evergreen handled the case where I was assaulted, they terminated the entire event for the weekend and they kicked the organization that was sponsoring it off campus, okay? Evergreen is, and they've had problems before with, like, they overturned a police car at a concert 2 or 3 years ago prior to that. Same student groups involved. So here I was invited to this event, and I signed the registration, okay, and I paid him a fee, okay, and this is a media-oriented thing, and there's a gal named Sylvia. Well, by the way, the Evergreen.
Remind me again now, let's go back to.
Yeah, I need to be more linear.
When there was this confrontation at Evergreen, you felt, you were physically assaulted?
I had nobody with me, first of all. I won't do that again. That's why Pat's here. And Pat kept saying, well, do you feel safe now? Do you feel safe now? And I said, no, I don't. You know, she wanted to go and do some other things. I said, no, I want you to stay with me because I need a witness.
Now, again,
See, the lying is the most pernicious part, okay?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so Pat witnessed this whole thing, and the guy said, are you going to take pictures? And I said, I don't need to answer that, and I don't want to talk to you, and you're in my way. And they blocked me like these other people did, and it was the same kind of thing that led to me being mobbed, like 10 people putting their hands on me, and one person ripping my camera out of my hand, okay? Because at that point, I was taking pictures of them because I'm documenting a crime. And that was a crime up there. I was bullied. I was assaulted. They intended to create fear in me. You don't have to touch somebody for it to be assault. If I say, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to cut your heart out. You know, with this knife I've got in my pocket, that's assault. Okay. And so, yeah, you're right. That situation was getting tense because.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Well,
And I mean,
and as a paralegal, I'm aware. Like I said, back away. If you don't back away, I'm going to defend myself. And I kept taking steps backwards. Did I take steps backwards? They kept advancing. And I want to know who they are because I'm going to be filing a police report. Okay? And the police will talk to you, and I'm going to file it. And if they can be prosecuted, I will testify against them because this is a pattern. The anarchists, as you know, deny that anybody has any rights. They see that as an extension of government. Okay, and some of them even say that they're at war with the state and even civilization itself. But if we're going to preserve our rights, we have to exercise them. And so I'm exercising a right I have under First Amendment principles and the fact that photography is not a crime. Even if I was in a Walmart taking pictures, they cannot assault me or take my camera or tell me I have to delete that or anything like that. And plus, they were questioning me, and I don't have to talk to them.
You understand this better than I do, and you said something to the effect that they could ask you to leave. So
The shopping mall may have a policy of no photographs inside a store, okay? And I remember one time was it Petco or something with fish? Remember the aquarium? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so the guy said, she said, well, I was taking pictures of the fish, you know, in the aquariums. And she said, well, the store has this policy, you know, and so she's just asking.
Yeah, I had the same experience in a pet shop in Salem. No. Yeah, Salem.
And so I said, okay, you know, I mean, I'd taken some pictures and they could ask me to leave. They can't make me not take the pictures, you know, as long as, you know, I'm cooperating. The thing is that the people there blocked my path and they kept advancing on me. And even your security guard, you know, is like if I did that to you or him, I, you know, start sticking my hand like that, I'd probably be cited at least for harassment because they did it repeatedly. They didn't do it just once. I asked them repeatedly not to do it. I've recorded this audio up there, okay? So it's been documented because I came prepared, and they don't have a, yeah, there's a guy right there. See, he's taking my picture, and I'm not going to tell him he can't do it.
I think he's taking the architectural picture.
No, it's not a good thing for the camera. So, at any rate, so there's this tension between people's wish for like a security culture and violating other people's rights. Graffiti itself is pretty questionable. So I wanted an opportunity to say, well, how is it that you guys think you have the right to deface other people's property, but you don't think somebody has the right to exercise their First Amendment principles? Okay, that's what's going on. At a public university, at a conference that's supposed to be a media event, no less. Yeah. So the irony here is, like, I'm saying the university is liable, okay? Because to say, well, this is a private event and, you know, you have to do what we say, like, suppose they said, oh, well, we've decided, you know, for this workshop that everybody should wear a tie, and you're not wearing a tie, and we want to know, are you going to wear a tie? And I say, I don't want to talk to you about it. And then they call you and have me taken out because they're the ones that are disrupting the event. I'm not even in the room at that point. You know, I never set foot in the room. So what I'm saying is, just like the Hare Krishnas, it's public in that, like, let's say I smelled bad, I was homeless. That doesn't mean that you can keep me out of the space. So just like the libraries can't do that. Even though nobody welcomes my presence, I smell bad, I can get on a public bus. I've done this with Pat. You know, somebody hadn't had a shower or bath in 2 weeks, and after the person left, they opened the door once the bus is going down to air it out. But you can't deny people access to what is a public facility. And even a private business like a shopping mall still doesn't have just carte blanche, you know, over what it can do. So as far as sympathy goes, I have good reason to be suspicious of these people. And I got email from a gal named Sylvia, who isn't even here, and there was going to be a bus owned by a guy that I know that I've done paralegal work for as a favor to him. I don't think I ever charged him his custody dispute, named Rick Fellows, who's the director of Media Island in Olympia. And so I was told, despite getting an invitation, you know, for the bus and so forth, that I wasn't welcome on the bus. Well, the bus didn't even go, and Sylvia apparently, I didn't see her up here, you know, didn't go, and nobody from Works in Progress, which is an alternative community paper that she's been editing for the last 24 years, and it's been in existence since Jesse Jackson. Okay, so Works in Progress, you know, came out of that time when he was campaigning for president, you know, the Rainbow Coalition, you may recall that. And so I posted on the blog, said, well, who died and made you God? And basically, I'm being told I'm too black to even ride on the bus, let alone the rear of it. And yeah, I take pictures at public events. And this is why I was assaulted when I showed up at Evergreen a couple of years ago, and why I've been harassed since then, and now the harassment's continuing here. And it's really interesting to me how people in a quasi position of authority. I mean, the security guard's authority is very limited. You know, he started to touch my camera. I said, "Don't touch me." Okay? But even if I don't touch you, if I start invading your space in a threatening manner, that's not permitted either. And that's what's going on. And you guys at the university are condoning that because you don't know how to handle it. Evergreen, what they did is I showed up at these anarchist meetings with the camera and my tripod and videotaped them, and the administration, I recommended they send somebody there that, you know, wasn't in a uniform, and they did that, okay? And Pat, you attended several of those with me, and in each event, when she was there, the only ones that were disrupting the event wasn't me.
The people that challenged.
Yeah, they'd stand up in the middle of the event and confront me. Because, you know, I'm taking pictures. You know, one guy said, "Well, why don't you leave?" You know, I heard this. I mean, this is familiar territory to me. And I said, "Oh yeah, why don't we just trash the First Amendment?" So here we have an institution of higher learning. You have experience with the Seattle Times, no less, as a professional newspaper person, and we're talking about something that's really precious to the American people, the First Amendment. And we know from case precedent in all 50 states and federal courts that photography is not a crime.
Well, I was going to interrupt John to remind him that you asked for a question about more information about the Evergreen thing.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious as to how that unfolded, because that's the thing, you know, honestly, the thing I'm
It
concerned about is
unfolded.
I
I
don't
showed up just like this, except that there was more violence.
Yeah,
Okay, and I was alone.
yeah.
And that was really interesting, is the fact that I was alone. They really pushed the envelope. Now, of course, when I was calling, I go, "Well, who are you calling?" "Well, I'm calling security, asking you guys to protect and defend my rights." You didn't do it.
Well, that's in part because, as I say, I'm not exactly clear.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't come here with an agenda to nail anybody, but I did come to report on this event. And I'm a member of the press. I'm actually have a company that's licensed as an investigatory news gathering service in Washington State. Came up here, drove up here from the Olympic Peninsula, which is some distance, to cover this. And so I had already been intimidated and coerced and told how disruptive I am. And we were in 2 previous workshops. Was there a problem? Was I disruptive?
And did you take pictures?
I think I might have taken 1 or 2, but there was really nothing that I thought was of public interest there that was worth taking a picture of. But when people start threatening me and telling me, you know, I can't take pictures, that's worth me taking pictures of.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No,
but
I
take it
appreciate that.
The reason your assumption is the reason they were so reactive in that session was because the nature of the session and that they're
Well, that was their argument, but of course they also said, and Pat heard this, "Oh, he's got a reputation for doing this, for like intimidating people and so forth." Well, there are anarchists that will have assaulted journalists on the streets, like some of the May Day demonstrations in Seattle. I mean, you know, with photojournalists, their faces are bloody from the poles that they brought with them that they'd smashed windows with, and you know, and they used them to assault some of the journalists up there. And, you know, so it wasn't this argument, "Oh, it was just property crime, you know, it was just vandalism, but nobody was hurt." Well, people were hurt, okay, and to say nobody was hurt, I mean, people just parked on the streets, had, you know, the windows of their vehicles smashed out because they were parked on the street. you know, if I smash, you know, the windows out of your car, I'm sure you're going to feel outraged and injured, okay, just like I would. So I'm concerned that we have a tax-supported public institution where people that want to promote not just dissent, which, you know, Thoreau wrote some interesting essays, you know, on civil disobedience, but vandalism, lawlessness, and violence. And they're using, while they claim to be at war with the state, they're using the state's infrastructure and facilities to conspire against the state. And Evergreen has allowed this, and I was curious whether the University of Oregon turns a blind eye to this. And
Well,
you can't censor them.
I'll give you my assurance that I'm gonna study this, I'll ask the officials, I'll see what I can understand about this. I will tell you that when we have an event here, if we're gonna photograph people, we ask them to sign a release. And if they don't sign a release, we don't photograph them.
It's not required, though.
Well,
You may do that.
I'm just
You
saying
may-
that that's,
because I'm not filming anybody for commercial purposes. It's for editorial purposes. There's a clear distinction. If I took pictures
But
because
it's
I want to use your image on a box ivory soap, I need your permission. But
Well, I guess
if
what I'm
I'm
saying is
taking your picture because you're a person of public interest, I don't need your permission.
if the Oregonian came up today and said, we want to go up and cover this event, and the organizers of the event said it's not open for those purposes, I really don't know how I would respond.
Evergreen had the same dilemma, and they didn't.
Well, it is now-
they didn't follow suit with what
I will
you're
say
talking
this,
about.
that my hunch would be, if we were on the campus, in a campus building, then I think, you know, I would know with clarity that we're talking about.
Well, just because you guys are leasing this instead of owning the building outright, you know, it's still being leased by the university.
See, I don't know what the terms of the lease are in terms of the ability of the owner of the building, who hires this security guy, to what.
Was the owner of the building hired the security guy? Not the university?
You know, I
You're
don't
not
know.
sure?
I would assume.
I would have thought it would have been the
But
university.
there are other events and businesses or
Right.
organizations in this building.
Yeah, private organizations and public, so it's, you know.
Mike, let me help you a little by because I'm really familiar with this area. I like to go every year to the Seattle Northwest Folklife Festival. It's a free event. It's public. The city of Olympia owns that park. It's a department. Huh?
You mean Seattle Center?
I mean, yeah, exactly. What did I say? The city of... Oh, I meant Seattle. I'm sorry. Anyway. So for the first time, and I've been going there for years, and I've started to go for all 4 days, and I videoed stuff, and so there was a theater, and they have at least 24 stages. So one of them was a small theater downstairs in the main Armory building. I don't know if you've ever been up there. The Armory building, often they have dances, you know, and live bands, and I know I filmed a lot of that. And for editorial purposes, and I'm reporting on this. So I'm downstairs to cover some East Indian music. And so there was a guy with tabla and some students, and they were horrible. And it was so bad that I would have left, but I didn't want to be rude and leave in the middle of the performance. So I had a tripod, and it was just set up between my legs, so it wasn't taking up any room, wasn't blocking a camera. And I think it was our first year for sort of monitoring or being in charge of this particular stage. Okay, So a young gal came up to me and she said, well, sir, we've had problems, you know, with tripods, and so you can't videotape this. And I said, well, I see a lot of other people with cameras. Okay. And she said, well, yeah, but they don't have a tripod. And I said, well, what if it was a monopod? And she said, it wouldn't make any difference. Now, actually, I have a disability. My hands are shaky. I can't hold a camera very still. I need a tripod to accommodate me. And I was denied that by this woman. She's actually technically in violation with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And moreover, she and a guy, happened to be a black guy, but he's going, well, what happened? And he wasn't there during the conversation that I had with her. I said, hey, you know what? I could tell you to just blow off, but I'm going to accommodate you because I like the event. Okay, I mean, it's a great event. It's been going on for 43 years. But you're out of line. Okay. So I went out, and it was like this, you know, oh, well, you've got to go further, you know. And so finally they called the cops. The Seattle police, who are way better trained than your guy, showed up. They talked to this guy. He didn't even witness the conversation, but, you know, he's telling them everything bad he can think of to try to bias the cops. And then I stated my position, what had happened. And the cop, there were two of them. I think it was a man and a woman. Yeah, I don't think you were with me at that point. But the cop says, I don't disagree with anything you've said. Okay, so they run into stuff up there. Like, for example, there's a huge fountain there. And sometimes people take pictures of the kids.
Yep.
And there are parents that object and call the cops. And the rule in law is a child, actually, although I usually don't push it unless I really see a strong reason to take the picture, and sometimes I have, but a child in public has no more expectation of privacy in law than an adult does. So they get these calls all the time. They say, there's really nothing that we can do about this. You were with me in Olympia when the same thing came up, and there was a group, and they were like in cutoffs and tank tops or bikinis and holding up signs for car wash. It said, queer car wash for summer camp, $10 or something like that. So we were stopping by the artesian well, and I said, hey, I want to get some pictures of this because this looks really colorful. The sun's out, the light's good. And I'm on the sidewalk, and this woman comes over and says, you can't take pictures, you know, without our permission. And some of the women are shy about their bodies. Of course, they're standing out there on a main thoroughfare, you know. And I said, actually, I don't need your permission, you know, and I'm a street photographer, and I'm going to take these pictures. Okay, so she said she didn't care what the law says. I called 911. I said, I think you need to have a talk with them to explain where the boundaries are. The dispatcher advised me not to put myself in harm's way. I thought that was probably a good idea. I've got a telephoto lens anyway. I walked across the street where there's a lot of traffic between me and them and took some more pictures. They said they'd send somebody. I didn't see him showing up. I got done, so I started walking across the parking lot where the well is, but they're like one door down, washing cars. And then the officer showed up. It was a woman. I guess she was probably in her mid to late 30s. And so she approached me, and then this woman, oh, I forgot to mention, she had a son with her. I think it was her son. And I said, he said, well, you can't take pictures of kids. This came up without, you know, the parents' permission. I said, actually, that's not true. Oh, yes, it is. You know, well, I said, you know, are you a lawyer? Well, no. Well, I'm a paralegal, and I'm an expert in this. And the kid said, well, just because you're a paralegal doesn't mean you know what you're talking about. Hard to argue with that, you know, because I met a lot of lawyers who don't know what they're talking about, and even judges. So I thought, okay, fine. So when the cop showed up, here comes this woman with her son who said he was 18. Okay, when I asked him, I said, are you under 18? And he said, no. Okay, so he looked like he could have been 16 or 17, but he was actually, according to him, over 18. So I talked to the woman, the cop, and I said, look, photography is not a crime. What I'm doing is also in a public space. It's protected under First Amendment principles. And I said, sometimes it's be helpful if instead of just taking crime reports, as police officers here in Olympia, you actually explain where the bear sleeps and prevented it. I said, one of the core functions of government is to prevent force and fraud, not just to take reports of it after the fact. And she heard me and she just said, yeah, I get it. Okay, I'm done with you. You say you were leaving? I said, yeah, I was leaving. Fine. Okay, so she was irritated with me, but I took pictures. I said, mind if I take your picture? She said, actually, I prefer you wouldn't. She didn't order me that I couldn't, and I thought, well, I'm asking the police for some assistance, so just to be diplomatic, I didn't just take her picture. I could have. Yeah. I didn't. That was a personal choice that I made, not something that was mandated. But when she turned her back, I took her picture and the picture of the two people, and the mother is talking to her, and the cop's listening, and she's going on about, how I took a picture of her son and didn't have their permission. And at one point when she got done, I could see I'm a little out of earshot, so I can't hear what they're saying, but I got their facial expressions. It's part of the story, their hand gestures. And at one point, the cop is going like that, and the woman looks really disappointed, and her son's looking really disappointed. So I know she said something of, look, he's right, there's nothing that I can do about that. Okay, the cop was well trained. That's a good thing. Okay, our universities, the administrators, the security guards, or the police officers. Now at Evergreen, these are actual police officers there today. Years ago, they used to be security officers, but today they're fully certified, and they're full police. They're not limited. They're full police. They're armed. They have a uniform. They have a badge. All of that. So, it really is professional courtesy. I'm just saying that the University of Oregon is doing something that Evergreen wouldn't, and that is Evergreen recognized that it had some liability, and they didn't want. They wanted what I asked them several times. I said, "Am I persona non grata on this campus?" Now, basically, you have witnessed this security guard telling me I'm persona non grata now on this campus, and I haven't done anything illegal.
Well, and that's why I said, let's just talk.
Yeah.
I mean, because, I wasn't trying to, assert that.
I don't have an axe to grind with you. I am saying you guys need to do your homework.
And I pledge to you personally that not only will I do that, I know I need to do that. I mean, I'm here on an interim basis, and I need to understand this if we're going to host things like this. So,
well, you're talking about the $10. We're out over $100 just on the hostel, right, that we rented, and the gas and so forth up here. And the $10. I mean, they didn't even advertise that there was a fee for $10. It was a sliding scale fee. It said 10 to 50. And I said, well, I don't make a lot of money. How about 10? And so they agreed to that. And then I have had the rug pulled out from under me, and the school should have said, John, you know, you can attend this, you know, just don't take any pictures, you know, and then we could have taken issue with that, but you went beyond that. You know, and said, no, you're gonna have to leave. Not even the Hare Krishnas, you know, were, the airport couldn't legitimately even ask them to leave, and they were dancing and playing the drums and hoping people would, you know, give them alms or donations, okay? Panhandling is permitted. You could have had a panhandler up there, and to ask them to leave because they're panhandling would have been a violation of their First Amendment rights.
That's part of what I need to find out, and I'm not sure the best way to do that in this moment. I mean, I would like to have an outcome that you feel at least understood, heard, respected, and.
But I'm not running for popularity contest. Right. I'm here to exercise First Amendment rights for the public's benefit, so that they know what's going on here, and so that those rights to a free press are, look, if I had to ask the government's permission, and the university is a quasi-governmental entity, for what I do, then a free press wouldn't mean very much. The press is not required to get the government's permission to do what it does. And I'm not required to either.
So I'm just trying to figure out where we go from here. What's your desire?
Well, my desire would be I want to continue to cover the event, and I have taken pictures there in the hall, and nobody said anything about it. It was just this subset in there that was doing the graffiti workshop, and then they got uptight about me even taking pictures, like, you know, I never set foot in the room from out in the hallway, okay? And, like, where do you guys draw the boundaries? I mean, if I'm here and they walk through the door and I take a picture of, what if, like, you know, I'm outside, you know, near the entryway? I mean, I think this is, you guys have gone where kind of angels fear to tread. Yeah. And
I didn't go there. I feel like, you know, the circumstances have put me. Well,
this security guard. Yeah. I mean, I think I mean, unless I was committing a crime, he didn't have the power to arrest me.
No, but I mean, so if he was concerned,
he could have called the cops and said, "This guy's trespassing," and had me arrested for trespassing.
He could as easily. I mean, if he felt that situation was as volatile as it felt like it was, he probably would be calling the police, not on you, but on the situation.
He was following suit with these guys. He was sticking his hands up at the, you know, that close from my face. Yeah.
Well, let me.
I mean, I wouldn't take my camera and stick it in your face like that close. I mean, the further away from you I am, the more likely I am to take your picture without your permission. Yeah. If I want to get, you know, right up to see your pores, I'll say, hey, you mind if I take your picture? But if I'm standing 20, 30 feet away, I probably wouldn't even ask you. So there is something about, there's a threshold at some point, it's not clear, where even if you haven't touched somebody, you're threatening them. You know, if I start putting my hands right up your face, you know, I mean, somebody did that to Pat, my wife, I would defend her. And I tried to warn these people repeatedly to step back, to not touch me, and they kept advancing on me. And that is how the thing at Evergreen came down, where I was physically assaulted.
Well, my concern is to try to avoid this thing escalating or...
You need to discipline the people that hold these events and tell them where the boundaries are, and I think you guys drew the boundaries in the wrong place.
That's what I need to find out.
Yeah.
So let me have some time to sort this out.
How much time do you need?
Well, I need enough time to know who's, in essence, what is my obligation to
Sure.
you, what is my obligation to them.
Surely you guys have,
obligation-
you have a law school, you must have lawyers.
Well, but it's Saturday, and,
Yeah.
you know, and I frankly, you know, if I were at sale times, I would have my lawyer on the phone and say, what should I be doing? It's gonna take me some time to figure this out, and I guess all I'd ask is.
By the way, I'll give you my contact information.
All I'm asking is that in the moment, anything you can do to help it, you know, keep it kind of stable for the time being.
But remember, I have an obligation to the public.
I understand that, yeah. I do understand.
I mean, otherwise, this is just all self-aggrandizement. You know, the only thing that I have to support me is my credibility and that I'm performing under constitutional principles of a service to the public. There's only one trade or profession that's mentioned in the Constitution for protection, and that's journalism.
And it's not an absolute protection, nor is
No, but
so-
what I tell cops when they bring this up, and I'm one of the press. In fact, one of the attorneys used to be prosecuting attorney in my county. I said this, and he really praised and complimented me because you know, he'd heard so much country. I said to Monty Cobb, his name, I said, the press has no more rights or freedom than anyone else. And, but I add something to that. They also have no less.
That's right. You're absolutely right about that. Let me do a little work here, okay? If you can give me, I don't know, it's 10 after 3, give me 20 minutes, and I'll at least get back to you.
Sure,
and say
no, that's
where I think we are.
that's very quick. But
I mean,
I'm reporting on this, and all I could say is that I already, when I was initially intimidated about coming down here and told I couldn't be on the bus, I reported this, and there were a number of people, I have a readership, okay, that contacted me, and they were outraged. So what these people may be the squeaky wheel right now that's demanding the grease, but as far as a consensus, you know, a broad consensus in the community, I don't think that you have it. The Supreme Court and our appellate courts have consistently been very jealous about protecting. They've eroded some of the other provisions of the Constitution and how they've interpreted, but they've still pretty much left the First Amendment sacrosanct, including the issues about, like, cops don't like getting photographed.
Nope, they don't.
And I don't need a cop's permission even to record them surreptitiously.
Why don't
Okay.
we let him do what research he needs to
Yeah,
do?
Yeah,
okay.
Come across and look at the Willamette and calm down.
Well, I want to give you my phone number so you can call me.
I'll put it in my phone because I don't have it.
Yeah, if you're gonna, because we're gonna be around for a while. Yeah, and
We'll be here.
and again, what I want to say is, like, I was in these other meetings and you asked if I took any photos in there, and I went, well, not really, because there wasn't anything going on that looked newsworthy.
And I didn't do that to probe, I was just curious.
But no, but
It seemed
but
like this particular,
but this one was newsworthy because they were getting just so histrionic about it.
yeah,
And again, the irony is they're talking about graffiti.
yeah.
And they're saying that this was a security culture thing. In other words, they don't want me taking their picture because they're worried that there could be blowback from it. But I'm reiterating, just a second.
Are you gonna give him your number?
Yeah, are you ready for my number?
ready.
Oh, and my professional name is Amicus Curia. That's the name of my paralegal business.
All right.
And I'll give you my email if you want it.
why don't I take it in case okay, yeah, let me take it, just in case, even after this, if I want to correspond.
Oh, I think,
tell you
yeah, I
more.
think we should, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you more what I've been able to find
Yeah,
out
yeah.
beyond the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Right now, I'm trying to find out something that gets
Yeah.
us through the moment,
Yeah.
so, all right.
It's P as in Paul, I, N as in Nancy, B as in boy, A, L, W, Y as in yellow, Z as in zebra, at yahoo.com. So that's PINBALWYZ.
Just a second. Make sure I have PINBALWYZ
Yeah.
at yahoo.com.
And one of the things that disturbs me about this the most is the arrogance of I've seen these people, I want to illustrate something. I went up to the federal courthouse. There's a guy named Matty Pfeiffer. He was one of the grand jury resistors. You may have read about them.
It's not ringing a bell, but
Oh, well, they vandalized, they don't know who for sure, the federal courthouse, or one of the federal courthouses in Seattle. So the feds, the FBI, they want these people really badly. So they raided a house here in Portland, and they gathered a bunch of evidence, including, black clothing and tennis shoes and whatever I think that the security cameras could have picked up that might have helped identify who the perpetrators were. So these people were really concerned because they've subpoenaed some of them to testify. So they don't want to be jacketed as a snitch, so they're refusing to testify before this federal grand jury. Okay. And so the prosecutor asked, now they don't get a defense attorney in the room with the federal grand jury, okay? But because they refused to answer, they asked for the judge to impose contempt sanctions against them, where they would lock them up in a federal detention facility until they decided to talk. The theory in law being they have the keys to their own freedom. All they have to do is comply with the court order, and the court will cut them loose immediately, okay? But they weren't going to do that. And so they spent a number of months. Now, one of them, a young gal, I think 24, 25 years old, lived in the Portland area. She broke down and mysteriously was released like about 2 weeks after she was incarcerated, and the rest, like KDO and another guy, a Hispanic guy, and then eventually Matty Pfeiffer. Okay, Matty Pfeiffer some months later, but these other three were taken into custody pretty quickly around August or September of that year. So I'm there to cover this. Took a ferry over there, got my camera. I'd already gotten a taste of these people at a cafe that hosts events for people, alternative organizations, called Traditions Cafe. It's down across the street from Heritage Park in Olympia. So they had advertised this as public, open to the public, and that there was going to be video or pictures taken there. But when I showed up, because I'm not one of their cheerleaders, and I'm not going to be seen in anyone's camp, because that would destroy my credibility as a journalist. So I have to be independent, and that means reporting without fear nor favor, okay? So these people have been emphasizing the fear part, but when I showed up, they didn't want me taking pictures because I haven't said I'm going to do them any favors, and I won't, okay? Even if I have biases that I'm sympathetic, I'm not going to be seen as someone's advocate or PR. You want to hire me as a paralegal, that's different. But when I've got my reporting hat on, no. I don't have any friends when I'm a reporter, and I don't want any, okay? So I showed up, I mean, I was confronted there, okay, and I left the meeting early. It was packed, you know, and I just said, you know, I'm leaving. A couple of people get there. One guy was an attorney. I think he regretted this later, just kind of watching me and getting to know a little bit more about me. I showed up at this courthouse demonstration. Maddie Pfeiffer came up to me, and this is where I was going with this. And he goes, "What are you doing?" So I'm taking pictures. And we're outside in the courthouse courtyard, whatever. And he says, "Well, what are you going to do with them?" I said, well, I didn't say that. I said, I said, well, I did tell them when they asked me who I was calling, I said, it's none of your business, you know. And when they said, are you going to take pictures? I said, I don't even have to answer that question, and I don't want to talk to you. And you're blocking my way, and would you get out of the way? Which they wouldn't do. They just kept stepping toward me and dancing on me. But Maddie Pfeiffer said, you know, what do you do with them? I said, well, I don't have to answer that question, and I'm not going to. And he goes, well, that really sucks. Okay. He was later subpoenaed as a witness, wouldn't talk, and then they put him in jail for. Okay, so they're really paranoid about people talking because they don't want to be held accountable for vandalizing that courthouse, because they would probably, the authorities would make an example out of them.
There was a point I would like to make if you haven't already connected the dots. That when one of them, and I didn't see who it was, said your reputation precedes you. We know about you. I think that was having been kicked off the Evergreen campus because of
They were kicked off. I wasn't.
Well, right. But
Yeah.
they're still
They stopped the event.
Right.
And the
And
event.
that you're gonna go ahead and do what you're gonna do, whether they like it or not. I mean,
Well, they tried to intimidate me. I showed up these meetings anyway. Evergreen had the wit to recognize where the boundaries were. They didn't say, oh, you can't show up for this, or this is the only way that they did this one guy that showed up here is Gregory Lewis. I recognize him. He's a martial arts instructor from Seattle. And I got a lot of dirty looks from him up there. And he sent me some threatening email, threatening to sue me and so forth. And I said, go for it. But he was at the Evergreen campus, and he'd been invited by this group called ACAP, Abolish Cops and Prisons, okay? But they're largely an anarchist group, okay? I hate to label people, but I gotta resort to shorthand sometime, you know, without going into multiple syllables to say the same thing. So, they said only students could attend that event, because this was all about self-defense. They said, you know, for radicals. And so I want to be there to see what they're being told. I know some of the professors on that campus, have known them for 45 years, that some of the professors there are encouraging this and the use of the public facilities to plan, at a minimum, civil disobedience, or at worst, flagrant violations of the law, criminal violations, okay? And I think the public has a right to know if its public institutions and tax money is going for that. And I've talked to some of our state representatives about this and said, I think you need to look into this, okay? Because I'm not sure that the public, right now we have a crisis in Washington State where they're not funding, according to the state Supreme Court, education adequately per our state constitution. You may have heard about that. Yeah, okay. The Supreme Court is saying they may hold the legislature in contempt, okay? So here we have a school and we're short on money, and is some of that money being spent on hosting people that have ill will towards the state and the community and civilization, I mean, itself? I'm not sure that that's gonna, people are gonna hold still for that.
Part of their mission may be though to give everybody a voice.
Well, yeah, but school is in a ticklish situation. They don't want to be censoring people, but there's a difference. And you as an employee for the school, you're using the school phone or whatever facilities there. You have no right to privacy. They can listen to the conversation. They can record your phone. You're an employee. An employee doesn't really have any right to privacy from their employer. Okay, so here's this college campus. It's a public school. It's tax supported, and they can't, under the law, legitimately say, well, we don't like you, so you can't come. In other words, they had to use a very broad brush, so they did do this with one meeting. They changed it from open to the public, say, well, we've changed it, only students can attend, okay? And so I didn't attend that, but I attended the others, and frankly, one of the guys, Mr. Williams, he's an anarchist here in Portland, and that's very well known. He's well written, actually. He's published a number of books. Do you know who I'm talking about? Anyway. Oh, really? Okay. Well, he was one of the panelists at the Law and Disorder conference that was held at Portland State early this year, which was disrupted. Okay. And so, really, this event has sort of been disrupted, and all I did is try to walk in the door.
Yeah,
And I had a camera, but having a camera is not a crime.
Okay, so I'd like to sort it out as best I can on behalf of everybody. So I've got your phone, so if you guys want to go for a walk, there's a drinking fountain right around the corner.
One more thing. When I go to court, and I've filmed many court proceedings, there's a difference in the law, but especially in Washington State on the court rules. I can't take pictures in the courtroom without the judge's permission.
Right.
But they don't tell me I can't bring a camera in the courtroom.
Right.
Now, if I take a picture in there without the judge's permission, I can be found in contempt. Okay. Yeah. But even there, I'm not denied access to the court because I'm possessing a camera. It's not a weapon.
Let me see what I can find out. I appreciate your patience on it.
Yeah.
And
Is there any questions you have for me?
no, I think I've got a good sense of your point of view and perspective. So no, I just need to find out more.
Well, I don't want it to be just my opinion. What I'm really telling you is my understanding of where the boundaries lie in law. And we may disagree on what's polite or proper social etiquette, but we have to agree on where the boundaries in the law are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I got it. And I'll be back to you as soon as I can. I appreciate your patience.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
We'll probably be across the street.
Okay. I'll come find you or I'll give you a call.
Do you have what's the local paper here in Portland? Is it the Oregonian?
Yeah, it only comes out, well, there should be one around here somewhere. And then there's also a Portland Tribune, but they don't have a Saturday. They do.
Huh?
They have Willamette Week, and there's a little coffee shop the next block over called Floyd's, and I know they have the Willamette Week in there.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
fact, they have their Willamette Week.
Because I'm hoping to get their phone number. So yeah.
Oh, Sabrina? Yeah, hi.
Now you know why I wanted you here. And again, you almost weaseled out. Well, that was nice. I appreciate it. Yeah. You got a phone book for Just, I'm looking for the number for the Oregonian. Yeah, just a second. Could you write it down for me, Pat? Hello? Hello?
See if I can look up the information.
Hi, who's this? Oh, hi, Ted. Hey, I'm going to have to call you back. I'm right in the middle of something that's really awkward, but it's been a long time since I talked to you. So, yeah, I'm down here in Portland, and yeah, I'll talk to you about what just happened. Yeah, I'm going to be here. I got my journalism hat on, and some interesting stuff that I'll talk to you about. Yeah. Are you in Canada right now? Okay. Yeah, we'll talk. I think you'll appreciate it. Bye bye. Huh? Yeah, it was Jonathan. Yeah.
I'd be curious to know how. You said Ted, I first thought you meant your friend in San Diego.
Does your company work for the University of Oregon directly, or for the owner of the building itself?
This is a client of my company that I work for.
Okay, you mean the university is the client,
Well, this particular building.
but is the owner of the property, they lease it, is that your client, or is it the university that's the client?
I don't know that information, actually.
You don't know?
Venerable owns most of this property, and so it probably is under them that I am working for. Venerable isn't a company that.
Venerable?
Yep.
That's the owner?
Maybe. I don't know. They at least own the most. The number here that I have,
For-
503
This is for the Oregonian?
Yes.
503.
221
221.
8327. That gets you to customer service.
8327?
Correct.
503-221-8327.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, where do you want to go?
Across the street.
Let me get one more just to make sure this is the right number. I want to double check this for you guys.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a different number for this one.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Why are you shy about having your picture taken?
Well,
You're not doing anything illegal, are you?
let me have this number
All
down
right.
here for a minute. 1-800 452 1420. And to answer that question,
Yeah.
sir, I would ask, why don't you want people to touch you or your cameras?
Because when you touch somebody, it's assault.
It's what?
It's assault.
Not necessarily. Assaulting is assault, not touching.
Assault is creating fear or intending to create fear in the other person. Actually, you don't have to touch them for it to be assault.
Maybe true.
But a camera's not a weapon.
That's also equally as arguable. But the point of me asking that was, you have a right to take pictures,
I
but
do.
people have the right to refuse their pictures being taken also.
Yeah, but they can't assault you for it.
Well, they shouldn't assault you for it, maybe. Whether they can or can't is what they're going to do.
I'm talking about under law.
All right, if you feel assaulted, I would say that some people felt assaulted by you.
Many people don't want their pictures taken and have had them taken, and photographers are not arrested for assault. But if somebody comes up and keeps advancing on you when you retreat and you ask them not to, and putting their hand that far from your face, I don't come up that close to you with my camera. You were
You were pretty close to me, actually.
well,
At least
only
personally.
because you kept approaching me. Yeah, I was stepping backwards. You were advancing. A police officer, actually, in law, is entitled to advance, but you're not a police officer.
That is true.
You take care.
Well, you do the same, sir.
And By the way, a police officer has qualified immunity. You don't. Well, Pat, I guess I have a story, don't I?
You got what you came for.
I did. Hey, there's a bench here. I kind of want to sit down.
Well, then come this way then.
There's a park?
Trust me, there's a lovely park.
Oh, all right. Hey, I need to pee somewhere. Is there a place I can pee?
I think those are Santa cans down there.
Okay, good. I need one. Go, 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 go. What was Mike's last name? The guy we talked to, not the security guy, the older gentleman.
The law is unmade.
Maybe, but it is designed to prevent force and fraud. Hold this. Yeah. I want to sit down.
Well, this way.
Is there a bench? I thought they'd be back here.
You're missing the whole door thing.
My leg hurts.
Well, there are benches and seating that way.
I don't see any benches out there. Okay, let's go this way then. This is not working. My leg really hurts.
John, just a few more.
It's not a few enough feet. I don't want to go shopping. Is there a bench up here?
There is, yes, there's a place you can sit down.
I think these are all private chairs. What? Well, is there a bench there?
There is a concrete wall you can sit on.
I don't see a wall to sit on there. I see a bike rack. What? Yeah, I've seen it. I don't know what up my thing for the University of... No, I don't need that.
You want something else also?
I'm gonna write this down. 503. Do it again. You say Oregonian News Department. Just write. Five 294 5055.
I realize that, but that is often,
This, I'm not ready for it
It's
yet.
easier to keep track of than that whole
503 294 5055. Yes, I have a news tip for you. Down, or was until just a minute ago, attending. I'm a journalist myself from Washington State. Drove down here to attend the CascadeMediaConvergence. It's a media-oriented event that was publicized as being public, and it's being held at 70 Couch Street. That's at the University of Oregon here in downtown Portland. And anyway, I had my camera with me, and about the third workshop was one that was slated on the schedule to discuss graffiti, and I was assaulted, blocked from entering the room, and then eventually they called the security guard, not a police officer, but a security guard, and a guy named Mike, who actually is, I guess, the temporary director for the building for the University of Oregon. And he's checking, I guess, to see what the law is, but basically we were kicked out of the building and out of the event, even though we paid a fee to register for it, and I had originally been invited to the event. Because I had a camera and I have a reputation of taking pictures of public events. Yeah, that's and it was very volatile, and I have the audio of it, of course. But basically, you've got a state public tax-supported public institution hosting a media-oriented event, kicking a journalist out for having a camera. Who never even set foot in the room where the workshop was supposed to be held, because one person said that I had a reputation of taking people's pictures at public events. Well, it's taking place right now. It's at 70 Couch Street, and it's a series of workshops from early this morning, starting at 10 o'clock through Sunday night tomorrow at 6 p.m. When it winds up. And the guy's name was Mike. That's that works for the University of Oregon itself. Well, I spent some time talking to him after this, and so he's I guess checking his doing his homework for the next 20 or 25 minutes, I guess. But I thought I'd pass this on, and if you want to talk to me, give me my phone number. We're fine to sitting here at the riverfront park right now, about a block or so away. It's CascadeMediaConvergence. There's a lot of anarchists there. And of course, they were all worried that I might take a picture because they're promoting graffiti or defacing public or private property, which is a violation of the law. And so they were worried that I would take pictures because basically they don't want to be held accountable for that, but yet they're using a public institution as a platform to conspire and ejecting a member of the press that went there specifically to cover this event because of the irony that I've just described. My name is John. My professional name is Amicus Curia, and I have a witness right here that was with me when this all went down that would be able to confirm anything that I've just said. But so I'm sort of enjoying the afternoon. There's a lot of people down here at the Saturday. What is it?
Saturday market.
The Saturday market. Yeah, so I'm standing, and we drove down here from the Olympic Peninsula and rented a hostel for the night, so we're probably out between $100 and $150. They offered my $10 back to registering for the event, but I refused to accept it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't push it to where, they're going to have to call the police. I am talking to a member of the University of Oregon, and the guy at least admitted that he wasn't sure what the law was on it, but I am an expert in this area, and I tried to explain to him photography is not a crime. And yeah, thank you for taking the call. Bye-bye. Oh my apple pie. Let's see, where did this come from? Was this yours?
One that I just sent back in here.
Yeah, that was yours, right? Right. I think mine's in my folded up. Right? Yeah, that's the. No, actually, I want that because I think that's the only one I have. No. Me too. I don't want the only one you got.
Well, I had one of those. It was a softly folded one, it's been in a pocket. But you can have this, it's not a big deal, here.
That's the one that's got all the schedule in it?
Yeah. That, you've already got that written down on.
What, on this?
On that very schedule I gave you.
Where'd it go? There you go, there it is.
I gave you a ferry schedule that had the numbers all written.
The ferry schedule, I have a bus schedule.
It was pink and white, it was the ferry schedule.
It all sucks. I got what?
You got what you wanted.
Now I want more. No, then I would be distracted, and that wouldn't be cool at all.
Is that a recording?
I think so.